there seems to be a lot of respect here, at least, like where if you're similar roles, people or similar ranks, people will do the whole roll 1 through 100 to see who gets the roll or gets like carry if both of you want carry. But the people are very harsh if a lower rank takes their rank. Yeah. So like the rank 50 guy on the enemy team, somebody stole his mid lane and he just TP'd into our base and fed.
He's ranked 50, you know. He can clearly get his MMR. He doesn't care about that one game. Like, half of us out there, like we play for every 25, you know, or 30, whatever it is nowadays. Yeah. You know, we'll lose a game and we'll just sit there and solemn. But
seems like a pride thing here. Like it's like you dare do this to me, I'm gonna take you down with me, kind of thing.
I think I had that on I think Dream League Major. There was one where Mason stood in for the SA team.
Okay.
And like I'm playing a pub, you know, I'm in my room, he's in like the room opposite. And after like 3 minutes of playing, I'm playing Undying, you know, like it's just a chill Undying.
Yeah.
He dies by himself in the lane or something, and he runs down mid. And like he's like, idiot Undying or something. I'm like, bro, you're just dying as slot, man, I was saying. And like I just walk past his room and I just see him there molding in his little room after they've already come last at this event, right? And like he comes on, he's like, oh, how you doing, man? Because I see him, I'm like, yeah, thanks for throwing that game, bro. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry, man. I wouldn't have done it if I'm like, yeah, sure, sure.
I'm telling you, there's been moments in the pub so far, like you say it from Mason, but like in these EU pubs, I'll randomly have somebody just yell at me for like go back to NA or something, and I was like, I'm just a Jakiro, man. Like I was just, you know, nuking some creeps that you weren't here for. Like what, you know? But hey. That is a solid story. I'm sure that's the only time Mason's ever done.
Oh yeah, so it's once in his entire career.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Once, of course.
Angel, otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't believe that for a second, but I do believe the change-ups we're seeing already when it comes to this draft. We're a couple of picks in already. We're on to our second ban phase.
It's the same intro to the draft, right? Where we've seen strong first pick, and then like the instant like obvious counter coming up from Tempo. Ench first pick, then we had Mirana. This game we have Undying, then we have the Furion. Undying likes playing into like the melee offlane duos, the 4-3s, like the tiny centaur esque heroes. But against Furion, he can never have that range to get into and bully the Furion. You have the trees to stand in front, and naturally Furion buys Blightstone level 1, so you don't really have good armor. So it's already a hard lane. But the flip side, you now have that Spectre. Undying just needs to level Soul Rip. Has to just exist, tank a couple right clicks, Spectre will free farm, and then now you have the win condition, which is already better. Just Undying's not going to be like, whoa, getting kills in the lane. It's going to exist.
Do you think they might do some lane swap with the Undying? Because last game, they had the Mirana versus Enchantress, and they actually moved the Enchantress as the 4. Remember that? So I was just curious, like maybe they'll pick a support that's better against Furion, something like a Jakiro, something like a Witch Doctor.
You give me flashbacks when Evil Corp flexed the Undying to 3 to get out of this problem.
Okay, let's not do that.
All right, cool, nice. Just making sure.
I'm not proposing the off lane. I'm proposing swapping the 2 lanes of the supports here. Let's
just a positional swap. Not okay.
Whew. Yeah. Lane, like actual lane you're entering into swap. You're still a 5 Undying.
Yes.
You're just not in your own safe lane.
That's another thing in Dota. It's like once you move away from safe lane as 5, you feel like, oh, I'm entitled. No. You're still the 5, laning different. It's why like when you see a carry playing the off lane, it's like, oh, he's playing the off lane. It's like, no, it's just it's enabling the carry in a new way. But people just see lanes as where roles.
Okay, we're talking about lane swapping. I have a story from today.
Oh, let's do it.
Let's
go.
My pubs, okay?
Well, thank you.
When I'm in NA and somebody has Tinkerer or Invoker mid, right? And the opponent last picks Broodmother. I try to say, okay, guys, what are we doing to swap these lanes? Like, what are we doing here? Because if we lane normally, we're screwed. Nobody says a word. The guy walks mid, ends up losing by 3 levels, and we lose the game. Yeah. Right? Like, that's what happens. Today, I got last pick Broodmothered with an Invoker mid. The 2 guys didn't say a word. My Brewmaster moved his icon to mid. My Invoker moved his icon to off lane, and they swapped. Yeah. I was like...
Yeah. Exactly. You know, it's great.
They didn't say anything either. They just swapped. I was like, okay, in NA, I have to try to coordinate this shit.
You're out there like praying, like, please, I'll PayPal you $5. Please play mid.
Don't go mid on Invoker, please. That just reminded me, and we won the game. I was like, wow, crazy. So, just mentioning lane swaps, it can make a huge deal. Especially when like they pick an off laner that counters your support really hard. It can matter in the mid lane. It can matter in every lane. So it's just something to consider. I think the Enchantress had a much bigger impact in the laning stage itself last game because they did the swap, right?
I think there was actually a game, I think it was like maybe Nigma v Viking, where you actually saw like the position 2 and 3 were both like double jungling type of thing because
yes.
like the laning setup was so crucial that they didn't want to show and just instantly lose like the TP value, because if you show up to the lane first, the enemy can obviously like you can't TP into that lane because then they have TP advantage. So just the fact that there's such a precedence to having laning setup is like critical, and we might see it here. But I think after this entire roller coaster conversation, I think an Undying is like the old school type Warlock where he will just exist and just keep enabling the Spectre. Therefore, it doesn't really matter.
I just feel like against like your job is to soak hits too, right? You like it is soul rip, but it's also to soak hits. I feel like against Lina, Nature's Prophet, I don't know how well you can do that. Are they putting the Prophet like mid or 5 now? Like, what is the Slardar pick?
I think it is going to be mid or 5 most likely.
You think they're picking a strength offlaner into Dirge and they're just going to leave it as is?
Oh no! Wait, no. Tempo actually ran a position 5 Slardar against 5 men, and it was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. But they ran it before.
So what you're saying is anything can happen?
Nothing. He literally couldn't buy any items because they lost the game.
Well, I'm saying like maybe the skill build, you know, was a level 1 crush? Was he a bad
I think it was a crush situation going into then 1 point bash, 1 point sprint, and then after that he was like, I'm not even playing the game. But
I see.
It wasn't too hot. But potentially they could have this option to flex it.
They're that confident that that could be an option? Look at your face.
If they have Mason standing in, they could do the Slardar carry.
They could do anything, you know, with Mason carry. Come on.
Yeah, Slardar carry is that's a Mason special. Winning with it is not a Mason special.
That's another story, right?
So Slardar, on paper, it's pretty good against Spectre just because it helps you like track the real one, burst down the real one, gives you like that extra bit of damage to really push over the threshold of the tankiness that Spectre has.
Yep.
But Spectre usually is going to go for that early Manta, at least from what I've seen in EU. They usually go for the Drums Manta build, so that won't be too long of a problem. The Grimstroke here...
It's a really nice pick, to be fair.
Yeah, I like Grimstroke.
When you pick Undying, you automatically lose Wave Clear. You have Spectre as well. Wave Clear is an issue. Maybe once you have items, it's not. But
and you're against Nature's Prophet Lina.
Exactly. So you want to have a hero that can just sit in that lane and just go, all right, goodbye Creep Wave. How are you approaching this tower? Buy that extra 10, 15 seconds, allow your team to set up, suddenly Haunt has value. So picking this Grimstroke as a support, of course, it just keeps your draft a little bit on the same page.
It could be a mid.
Oh, God. Whew, you're doing so well, right? We're doing so well. Grim mid. Ooh.
I've seen him once or twice.
Yeah.
It gets super farmed, and then it's a mid that does the same thing as it would as a support.
Yeah. The only time I ever see it working is if like you can buy Ags and still your opponent's carry. He's got free farm because it's like... It's just how it works.
The equivalent of Darkseer?
Yeah. The BKB illusion just does run rampant.
Okay, so Brewmaster, pretty good matchup against Spectre as well.
Yeah. I've also just realized that one of the noobs here is this Furion. So most likely it's going to be the mid Furion, and then it'll be a Brulina offlane, and then it'll be a 5 Slardar with then some type of carry, most likely. I'm not happy saying it, but that's how I feel.
Why do you think they're transitioning into a strength offlaner when...
Because unless they're running the... I think they're just not caring about it too much, and they're looking at more...
The game plan?
Yeah, like out of lane, but more for game. Am I a fan of it? Not really. I actually really like MOTACI's draft. Like, on the 4 heroes so far, I think Tempo might be able to play a little bit quicker. That Furion TP, pressure the early towers. There's a lot of greed. Like, we saw a Storm Spectre line up the other day, and I think it was actually these guys. They farmed for so long, they lost all map control. So I'm not, like, too confident with their picks for the early game. But if they do bridge that and get into that mid-late game, it's so scary, all their heroes.
This last hero 100% has to get their team on the map. Like, it has to give the Storm somewhere to rotate. Usually you don't rotate to a Spectre. You can. Like, she's not a terrible hero to gank for because the dagger's slow from long range. But what I see here is what you said, was like Spectre's going to passively farm, doesn't pressure towers. Storm's going to passively farm, doesn't pressure towers. And if your team doesn't pressure and they have like a mid-Nature's Prophet, you run out of real estate real quick there when it comes to farming. So this hero that they come out with last, I really hope says, okay, this is our way of fighting onto the map. If I don't see that, I will instantly not like their draft. Because with this patch, it seems like the pace of the game slows down a lot around like 15 minutes. But for the first 15 minutes or so, like a lot of map control can be taken.
Yeah, it's about like in the first like 5, secure your lane, and then between 5 and 15, it's how much map can you control, own a new, like, because again, Dota is basically like a diagonal split, right? You have Radiant Dire, but after 15 minutes, that shift kind of changes to like vertical split, or like how you control the map. And after that, you want to kind of hold that for as long as possible to gain like net worth lead, and then you pressure like the Roshan or high ground. So yeah, it's very quick between that window, and then it does slow down a lot, and then that's why you see these games lasting to like the 30-35 minute, if not longer, because they're just being hopefully disciplined with their victory.
Yeah, methodical.
Yeah. So what's that offlane pick? That I think is like going to be that melee hero, right? The guy that can start fights, like the Centaur or something. But my fear is it's still too slow and like not map present. It's going to be kind of hard.
I don't necessarily care as much about a fight starter because you do have Storm. I'd more rather have like a body. Like they banned the Timbersaw. I think that would have been a good example of a hero I'm thinking of. Like something that just puts itself out there, giving you some vision, giving yourself like just a body to soak up the initiation from the Slardar Lina.
Okay, that's it. I was going to say, I think it's more like not a fight starter, sorry, but more a hero that can do something on the map, right? Because Storm, when you buy Orchid, you want to have someone to enable you to play because you don't have a lot of mana, so you need to make sure that zip jump is like critical. So Beastmaster, they go straight for the troll. So does that mean, okay, hold on, is it the Slardar 5? If it is, I'm so upset. Don't do it.
I will say, I think Slardar 5, like Troll's a really good lane matchup against Beastmaster. I think you can make it work. Like Troll's like one of the strongest laners in the game for sure.
My theory for that is though, Beastmaster, it's all about kill the boar. He doesn't really have a lane, right?
Yeah.
And normally you rely on your 5 to do that. The Grimstrokes, the Oracles, anyone with a bit of nuke, right? You don't have that with this 5. They are currently discussing it though, to be fair. You guys can't see it, but we can see them currently holding a long time. Okay, thank God. No, it's a position 5 Brewmaster now.
Okay.
You can see more sense in that.
Both are a bit strange.
It's keeping the... So they get the Nature's Prophet in that 4 roll, so they're keeping it in the Undying lane, so at least you still have that pressure. So you're going to be able to zone them out, force the Slardar into a 1v1 with the Spectre. Slardar should come up on top, because again, Slardar v melee hero is pretty good. My fear is simply this top lane, LeBron playing these quirky heroes, playing the Slardar, playing the Brew 5. Is he going to be able to enable his troll enough against a Beastmaster Grimstroke, defending your tower at 10-minute mark with that catapult wave? You might just lose too much in this top lane, and you're putting a lot of pressure on bot to go really well.
I'll make the ballsy call and say I think we're actually going to go to a game 3. I am under the impression that this game, tempo has to win the lanes really hard. They're quite, like, it is possible, but I feel like the room for error for them is like really small. Like if you give Beastmaster map control, you're suddenly dealing with a Beastmaster, Storm, like Spectre global presence, and you don't really have any of like mobile survivable heroes. So I feel like if they fall behind at all on the side of tempo, they're gonna fall behind very fast. Like it's gonna be very snowbally. So based on the lack of clean play coming from the first game, I'll predict MOTACI for this one.
This poor Lina core, like you don't really like getting jumped, and you're already against a Spectre. So unless you like absolutely pop off and just dominate that Spectre with 2 items, haunts on top of you, it's not gonna be too fun. So yeah, I think this is gonna be game 2 MOTACI.
Oh my! Ooh. You've given me something to be excited about here.
I hope I don't have to see your disappointed face after.
Yeah, I'll be coming back. I'll be crying. You know, waiting to see how it all goes down. But 2 guys that are waiting for it to go down as well. We got KP, Pycat. Are you on their side as well? Do you see it happening?
Can't believe it. We think there's going to be a 3-game series. This might actually happen. Pycat, this might be the one.
You think it's going to be a 3-game series? I think my boy LeBron's got this.
There it is. Because that was the interesting part for me, right? Is like you listen to the panel at the end there. I think like it started off with T, where you can kind of see he's like, well, it depends if this is the Slardar and the support role. And then it's like the expectations were just coming and going as you saw people pick their heroes. And we do have a Lina mid, which I think there was some very fair targeting at how easily this one's going to be removed from the fights as the game goes on.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I could definitely see the game swing either way. Like, it's definitely possible. I think it's a pretty rough Lina game. Like they mentioned, like some Storm rolling on top of you, Spectre just haunting on top of you. It's not the most comfortable way to play your hero. But at the same time, they have some upsides. The Troll, like, even with the Brew support, I think they're going to do quite well in this lane. I think their top lane is going to do well. And I could see some potential for the Prophet to rotate mid. Kind of early on and try to kill the Storm before 6. And if that happens, Lina could definitely kind of run away with this game a little bit. And they have easy way of killing Roche. They have an easy way of killing most heroes. But yeah, kind of gonna see how much MOTACI suffer in the laning stage, I think. And depending on that, I think we'll know kind of how the game is gonna go.
Yeah, we'll see if it's a reverse of the last game, right? Where we'll just see instead tempo, they start off well. Hopefully for them, not a complete reverse of the last game where they'll just drop the ball later. Because that was kind of like something you got to give credit to them, right? In that last game, tempo were good at capitalizing on the mistakes that MOTACI were making as the game went on. So maybe
yeah, I think a lot of it was like, I think a lot of it was on them, like, you know, the Juggernaut making those decisions, item choices, and also positioning where he was farming when the enemy was off map.
And with the, I guess the other thing, like when it comes down to, we just talked about how the lean is like, oh, maybe it's not the best choice, but like, I don't think there was really any other option in the mid. Like you could put the Prophet there, but he would suffer from the exact same issues, right? But you get less ganking and push early, I guess.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think you want the Prophet either. He kind of faces the same issues. You just, you know, like have a hero that, like Lina at least can stun, and she can do, I think, better than the Prophet against Storm. I'm not entirely sure about that matchup, but I think Lina is more favored against Storm than Prophet is.
Yeah, it's definitely going pretty well so far. Even gets the D-ward as well. I mean, like pressure is always going to be on Storm because Lina has more range, as you said, the stun as well. Whereas if it was an H's Prophet, you're relying on the trees, which, you know, Storm Spirit does have AoE for. And that's what I was talking about this lane. The bot lane, that's where the action happens. Muff finally goes down. Tipback will be able to walk away. LeBron's so far doing a lot of work with this OOF start.
Yeah, I mean, Brew together with Troll, like, that's why Troll is such a nice hero sometimes, because this hero lets you get away with most fives. Not all, but most fives in like, combination with Troll, just because of how strong of a laner Troll is.
Oh, on top. Strong lane here is that pummeling Asceni. He's able to just about get away. The boots will allow him to scurry off, but that does mean he's going to have to probably run all the way back. Yeah, just denies himself. Now, I wanted to, like, what do you think the difference is between him waiting that 30 seconds to respawn versus walking back with boots at that stage? It's got to be close, right?
I don't really think so. I think you definitely make some time. I mean, it might be like 10 something seconds. I'm not entirely sure how long it takes with Undying, but Undying is not it's not super fast, right? He's 345.
Yeah.
He's got to walk all the way back, and I just don't think it's worth it.
Definitely. I think the reason I was thinking about it so much is because I'm remembering when people always went for the deny and the tier 2s. And that was always the one that felt really inefficient because you like map out how long it took you to run to the enemy tier 2. I
think we actually tested this like back when I was playing like some 2-3 years ago. I think this was a thing. This was when it became really popular to just go and die and just respawn and fight. And I think at some point we tested this, like how long it took, you know, like how many seconds. I can't remember the exact time, but I'm pretty sure we tested it at some point and realized that it's actually faster to just die.
Yeah. All right. Well, as a result, he does get back in the lane, but I feel like this is now approaching a point where maybe Undying isn't going to be able to pressure as hard, right? Because you have all those trees to deal with. You got 2 points in the Bash of Deep now. Like, is there a hard curb off point? I guess is what I'm getting to in this lane for the Undying, where he can't really pressure anymore.
I think they just wanna. I mean, you see, like they're dealing damage to the Slaughter. Like it's annoying for him because he has to send out Regen all the time, and so his net worth is not growing that much. You can see the Spectre is slightly ahead. Other than that, though, we see the Tempo are doing well in both their other lanes. Troll and Nina are topping the net worth.
Yeah, Troll is really not feeling too contested. I mean, we just saw Muff got away in one piece barely that time, but there's just so much slow to deal with in this lane. Between the
Storm is getting really bullied right now.
That's one way of looking at it. I mean, he's slowly being pursued back to his tier 2s at this point, and it's not even level 6 on the Lina.
Yeah, he's gonna have to do the walk of shame back to base without boots.
See, now this would have been more efficient at I neutrals. But I don't think Noob was ever going to let that happen. In fact, he timed it perfectly to move across the runes, right? Because he's got his bottle, he guards hard. I think this should be just one go in the way of MOTACI in the end.
Yeah, they're just gonna get the one. The beast, he's gonna get the one.
How much like focus do we put on this mid matchup to set the pace? Because like we're already saying how the lean is going to get caught out as the game goes on. So does this put the two sides on a more
not
even?
necessarily sorry, come again?
Like because our worry was that lean is going to get caught out, right? So
Right.
like, is this advantage off the lane 10 times more important for her than the Storm Spirit?
I mean, it is important for her that she, like, does well in the lane, right? Like, you don't want to come out like this lane is Lina favored, right? And so you don't want the Storm to be coming out, even with you, or, I mean, definitely not ahead, right? You want that advantage so you can kind of push him back and delay his timing, so he doesn't just get to go, get all the neutrals he wants, get his levels, and then be able to just zip in on you. Like, you want your Yules as Lina and probably BKB, and then you're kind of good to go. I mean, the scariest thing is still you can get jumped before you get to press this BKB, but I would assume that's kind of the route you want to take. And I feel like this tempo, they want just that in this game. They want tempo. Their lineup can play really fast. All their heroes, they don't really rely on any cooldowns. They have the Brew split, but he's a 5, so you don't really care. It's just, basically just a bonus. And they want to play really fast with the Prophet and the Lina and take some early Roche and kind of just close out the map.
I guess the other thing to highlight as well is like we said, as the panel did as well, that when you get into these big team fights later on the game, this Lina is going to have problems in terms of people getting on top of her. But before that, like up to the maybe like 15-minute mark, it kind of is just confidence play, right? You go wherever you want as noob. You're not really threatened because we just saw how he pressured out mid easily. It's not like there's going to be rotations coming in to defend this Storm early on, right? Like, what's an Undying or a Grimstroke, for example, going to do to change things?
I mean, definitely not before 6 at least. I think once he gets 6, that's where you can actually do something. You have this Grimstroke, you just throw an Inkswell on top of the Storm, and he jumps in, and this is potentially a kill on Alina. So we'll see. He needs to get a 6 first before they can think of this.
Just have to see if Noob can slow it a little bit more. I mean, Noob will get level 6 first, so it's kind of one of those situations. If you pressure Mambos down to like half HP, he can't hang on the lane at all. And right now, Prophet's coming in. Yep, DNZ goes for it. Laguna gets Mambos low, and he TP back. Perfect rotation out of DNZ. And they actually...
The Lina Prophet combination versus almost any hero. This can happen. And this is also nice timing. They're doing this with the catapult.
That's the thing. Like, they could get this down to a quarter, if not drop the tower. Yep. It's not like anyone's going to come here to slow this. Like, maybe you could stick Grimstroke here, but then you're leaving the Beastmaster alone against a multitude of slows.
Yeah, they don't really have... I mean, they could bring... I think they would have brought the Grimstroke if his port was on, if his port was ready, but unfortunately it's on cooldown, so they're gonna lose this tower now, which is gonna be pretty rough for them since the Storm, he's not 6 yet, and now they'll be able to invade and take over this jungle. You see the Lina has a ward. I'm assuming he's going to go into the jungle. This might get spotted by the Observer ward that MOTACI have though already, but he's gonna get a ward in their jungle somewhere, and he's gonna try to run around and kind of mess the Storms farming up.
Yeah, you went for the less predictable spot, right? So now you might need to use 2 sentries to scout that out. And I think it's a case of Mambos isn't going to jungle necessarily fast, being forced into the jungle this early anyway, right? Like, he's got 1 point in the Static Remnant, 3 in the Overload. He's going to be stunned. No? Undying does go down. Mitch barely getting out in one piece.
And we see a really early Medallion on the Nature's Prophet. To me, it indicates that they want to take early Roche and just be able to fight early on.
That's just one of those heroes that can actually be a little bit more greedy in this sort of way. You know, you get your gold early, also you don't really need to necessarily get boots on the support Prophet. But
I'm gonna go a bit on the troll here. I don't think
he has got 6. They need to be careful because he could just press the big mean R button and run them down. DNZ here, they might think about it. There it is, chases in on the muff. He needs 2 more hits and he'll be able to get it. The chases on to Tipek as well, and Noob does have the light strike right. Gets sidestepped by Tipek. He'll go for the TP out, but that ain't gonna work. And actually, they're gonna see Senny as well if he's not careful.
Yeah, he's tranquil.
Yeah, LeBron can't get it. He hasn't got any points in Drunken Brawler. But this might be like half health on the tier 1 bot if they're not careful.
Yeah, they're kind of low on resources, I think, on both the Troll and the Lina, so I think they need to just reset, go back.
Yeah.
They're maybe going to lose their Prophet here.
He did overstep a little bit.
Yeah, it's a 3-man rotation though, so it's not the end of the world. Slardar Spectre, the trading farm up top.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. You're at a stage where like Slardar doesn't really care about the Spectre. If anything, Spectre needs to be careful, as we're seeing now. Just testing that button works. It's all good. That should force him all the way back though. So if you're Curry and you're going back like this, do you try and maybe pivot into like a Haunt gank once you're back in base?
Yeah, definitely. I think that could be a good idea. I think they see the Lina here with this, or they saw the Lina moving with this ward. Unfortunately for them, she's gonna just run away, it looks like.
Well, they're coming.
They're coming.
Smoke breaks.
Alright, this is a dead.
On top foot, Noob throws out the Light Strike Array. He needs some assistance ASAP, but he's just not gonna get it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the scary thing as this Lina versus this Inkswell. Like, when you have these two heroes, Storm and Spectre, that you can just throw Inkswell on and they can just fly in on top of you. It's a little bit scary to show up like this, or to just farm jungle when people are missing.
And now they're going to converge on top as well. Let's say, okay, tempo. There's a woman down here. Let's see if we can actually pressure this a little bit. Looks like they actually played their hand a little bit too soon. So Mitch is just able to sliver away, and all the while Spectre remains a little bit pressured, you can just see Krylat is just soaking in all this free space. And in the bot lane, they might be able to find a pick on the Beastmaster. He has got this lane ward though, so they do get spotted out in the rotation in.
I'm not a huge fan of this port by the Lina. I think he should want to be top right now. I think just leaving this bottom lane to the the Brewmaster right now would have been fine. He can get a 6 and then he can also join them top and they can fight around this area. They know that Spectre ported up there, so going to this area and forcing Spectre to leave and potentially taking the tower, fighting them, like right now is definitely in their favor because they're very strong on tempo.
Speaking of fine, Mitch, they jump right on top of him. He throws out the trash, but only hits on a 1, and they'll be able to chase him down. I think you may be right on that one, Podcast. I mean, they left themselves a little bit vulnerable, and they still haven't done anything about Tipek in the bot lane. They're going to try now, though. They do have that lane wall that spots them out perfectly. With 3 areas here, maybe they get it. Pramaror comes out, Horn in straight away, Light Strike Array. Sidestep by Curry, so DNC being chased onto. The stun comes out into Tipek, Laguna as well. They need to make this kill quick. DNC is still alive in the meantime. Will go down as the stroke comes through from Muff. And now Senny, he says, tank up, I'm a big boy, time to charge forward. Straight on top of Noob, slowing him down a little bit. The Cyclone control is there under the Spectres. Matrix can't do anything. Light Strike Array, but there is going to be a bind to get these two together. Muff turned around on instantly, though. Not really the impact he was looking for out of the soul bind, and Curry has to retreat.
There's a hasted storm coming in, though.
Yeah, he's like, don't worry, guys. I'm not late. You just you didn't turn your clocks back. Move straight in. Noob's going to go down. And LeBron and Mitch just have to watch. They'll try on the storm now, but it's got so long left on that haste. The bash is good, but there's not going to be enough follow-up. Mitch has to retreat. On the plus
pretty
side,
awkward engagements.
I was going to say, the plus side for Tempo they did get is top tower. They at least managed to get that, and like they didn't hinder their troll. But I agree, it was a bit of a wonky back and forth engagement, shall we say.
Yeah, Spectre queuing up Midas and Storm going for Bloodstone is some very, very greedy play.
They must have a lot of faith in the single target stun from their Beastmaster.
Yeah, and the double single target stun with
That
the
is true.
Beastmaster Grimstroke.
It's always like something I find myself discussing is like, how much can you rely on that though, right? Because sometimes you can kind of tunnel vision how amazing it is, and it is a godly ability when you get the right targets together. But when you just catch maybe a support who's already used all his spells and one core, it feels like a lot of those fights backfire almost instantly.
I mean, I feel like if you try too hard to do it, it's gonna
Yes.
backfire. It's more of one of those things, you know, it happens, but you don't necessarily rely on it to be able to fight. It's just a bonus.
I like that. It's it reminds me of, you know, when Grimstroke first came out and it was like, oh yeah, Doom and Lich, and yeah, this is amazing. And what you realize by the end of the draft is you had an entire draft built around a support using one spell optimally.
Mm. Yeah, not really an ideal way to approach.
That depends. They got like double your MMR maybe, but not in pro level. Smoke rotation's coming out, by the way. They're finally going to shut this greedy boy down. But I get this feeling, Krylat, you know, you've been here, Pycat, all right? The carry senses are tingling right now. You know something's not right.
Yeah, I think this courier might give him away, though. If he doesn't send it back the right way, like, yeah, he's toast.
This is also part of the carry experience. You really want that item delivered to you instead of waiting like 10 more seconds when you TP away. Troll tries to turn around. He gets the root straight away, but the prime reward does come out, which means they will not get return kill. Krylat will go down. Oh, I say that. They won't get return kill. They do get it in the bot lane as they go deep and find the Spectre. A lot less resources invested in that one.
Yeah, I'm a little bit curious he stayed there so long on the troll.
Are you, though? You've done that. I bet you've done that yourself, where you're like, I'll just let the item come to me first before I TP away. It is a Yasha, after all. I can move quicker. Farm faster, you know? It reminds me of a discussion Sunspan Syndrome were having earlier. They were mocking the whole Midas efficiency. Where it's like, you get obsessed with it. It has to be 100%. I don't care if there's 3 people waiting in the dark just a few feet away. I've got to Midas that creep right there.
Yeah, I'm not so much of an advocate about the, like, you know, the. I don't think you have to overthink the Midas efficiency. I think it's, of course, you want to do it, but you don't let it get away in the, like, don't let it get in the way of playing the game, right?
Yeah, it's like you just imagine the extremes where someone's like, okay, yeah, Midas is off cooldown. I could kill the carry, but Midas is off cooldown. You guys have got this kill, right? And then the person gets away on 10% HP. Like a kind of perfect depiction of over-fixating on hitting creeps. Midas in Tibak. Well, he's not a creep, though they're making him look like one.
Yeah, and I think at this point, I think Slaughter's almost about to pick up his blink. And I think they could very easily right now just take Roche whenever it kind of suits them. If they see too many heroes down here just trying to hit this tower, I think rotating in and just taking Roche would be very simple for them.
Do you think maybe you're a bit reluctant to go into the pit at the moment because you did use the split top? It's like if you get initiated on, you haven't got your big turnaround team fight.
I think if you see heroes, I think you're fine with it.
Yeah.
You know, if a lot of heroes are missing, you don't really want to force the Roche because you don't necessarily have to, since right now MOTACI are not able to kind of hit any towers. It's so easy to defend these towers with just some Lina nukes or potentially some Prophet ult, or even just hitting towers of your own.
I like that rotation from Noob initially as well, right? Like he's sitting there going, okay, if Curry is here alone, I could potentially solo kill the Spectre. But now that it becomes obvious they're there, as you were saying, this might be the moment they just walk into the pit.
Yeah, I feel like attacking either the tier 2 top or just going in for Roche. Both are decent options.
Why not both at the same time? All right, no, he's giving up on it right there. That's why DNZ earns the big bucks as a pro player, and I'm not a pro player.
This is a very, in my opinion, curious decision here though, by the Lina queuing up Boot to travel level 2. I can get behind the level 1 bots, but I don't know.
Maybe
I feel like you could invest this 4,000 gold could be invested into potentially a BGB, and then you could maybe just go high ground. But we'll see how it turns out.
It is a peculiar one. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Noob's just really a big fan of how pretty the null talismans look.
Right.
That's about all I've got. Because I mean, there isn't any big. Yeah, this is instantly going to make this game a win. Like I can see the Q plays maybe with Nature's Prophet, for example. He TPs in, you TP on him, sort of thing. For instant ganks. But yeah, you're right. Like maybe getting a Shadow Blade quicker, for example, might serve you a lot better.
Yeah, we'll see if he actually decides to go for it or not.
Yeah, he might just have it queued, and then he's gonna like go for an assortment of items in different orders. Smoke coming in. Mitch breaks. Looking the wrong way, and it was to the right of where he was looking. Tipek just walks it off. Split's gonna come out, and Manboss says, "I don't know if I know you guys anymore." Sun's thrown out on the Beastmaster, Sprout onto him. DNC's just been mellowed though. Phoenix just standing his ground. There's the Hawk coming in. Manboss is reinitiating in. They're ignoring Krylat in the meantime. Primal out on the Noob, and now starting to stop. Needs on top of me, maybe in trouble. The Soulbind to keep them together. Muff dying pretty quickly, but not quick enough as he does get the stun out before going down. 2-for-1 exchange as both Dyer's supports do fall. And they're hunting for more. They know the beast is low. Mitch moves forward with a blink, goes straight in with Slivering Crush. He just needs a bash to finish this off, and he'll get the kill.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say that, like, if they just get those 2 kills, I think you're actually happy as MOTACI, but now they're gonna get the 3rd kill and the tier 1 tower bottom.
I feel like we could just have an and list here. And they use the Primal, and they use the Horn. And they can't really stop.
And the Lina is porting top, and he might get a kill on the Storm. We'll see.
Because he has no mana. Time to say hello to this boy. Let's track right. Stand up. Goodbye. Good night. Have a good 45 on the sideline. All right, now we understand why he's maybe thinking those level 2 boots travel, because he had to run all the way across. You see that efficiency.
Yeah, I guess it's the
efficiency,
cooldown.
Right?
Maybe it's the cooldown.
That's
the
true.
lower cooldown. It could be. Kind of wants to be everywhere at the same time. I think when you're this far ahead, yeah, potentially. Maybe it's a thing.
Well, we'll see if he actually commits to it, because he still hasn't bought it, and he's sitting on a decent amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's just thinking the buyback logic, because if you take a fight, now you have those boots of travel, you can, of course, buy back, hop back into the fight instantly. Right now, it looks like it is going to be Crimson Guard being queued up for Slardar. It's not a bad item in this game. Is it the best you could maybe go for? Like, I could see a 4-star being pretty good in this game. Well,
I don't really mind the Crimson. It adds to their team fight. Like, their team fight is not the best, but it's going to be so hard for MOTACI to be able to team fight them.
do you mind that, though? The fact the Storm, who's, this almost got his Bloodstone. I mean, at least he didn't die when he had the Bloodstone, but this greedy item choice that we mentioned a few minutes ago, and now dying back to back like this, his growth has been completely stunted.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like the idea of like the Beast is going for the book, the Spectre is going Midas Radiance, and the Storm is going Bloodstone. So everyone's just being really, really greedy. Now, if potentially Tempo mess up somewhere and the game they manage to take it slightly later, then yeah, it might work. But I feel like you need to have someone who is willing to make plays.
Yeah, I feel like you wait until your opponent's completely dumpstream to make the decision of I'll wait for my opponents to make a mistake. Senny, that TP was a mistake, buddy. Trying to walk it off, actually being ignored for the time being, because they go for the bigger kill, and the Beastmaster Slardar hunts him down. And Senny, just out of range and nukes, but he'll keep chasing much quicker. I'll be able to find that kill as well. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, they're going for more. Chase on the man boss. Silence comes out. They slow him up. They really need to move him for the roots. But Krylat, he won't be able to get close enough quick enough. In the meantime, Muff does go down. And this is just... I mean, they're taking fights in multiple locations. I don't know if it's just on how well Tempo are carousing them, or if it's how bad their opponents are running away from the fights. But they all seem to be converging to the same locations each time.
I mean, I think this is the mobility of this lineup. Like Var, the Brewmaster, they have this Slardar. He's a very fast hero with a Blink Prophet, and Lina both can play the map very easily, and Troll with this Face Boots Yasha build is also a very mobile hero in the sense that he has a lot of move speed, right? He can run across the map very quickly, and so it is difficult for MOTACI once this far behind. It's difficult for them to kind of play keep away.
That's true. I think the thing that I'm liking here is, you mentioned the Tempo earlier. Is they're starting to seem to me like a team that literally is their name. Like when you used to have no Bounty Hunter, and they never pick Bounty Hunter.
Right.
These guys
bottom, they just only played the one hero in the one lane.
And I feel like we need to see a rise on a team called like Magnus Rising or something. So far, it's just a case of can MOTACI delay this, and how long can you delay this? Because it's not like they push slow on the side of Tempo either, right? And that was already a given, but this Troll is getting to a point where he's just going to melt through the buildings instantly as well.
Yeah, and we see like Delina, she goes for the BKB first before these BOTs too. I like this. Now you're very difficult to bring down because you're so far ahead. You're very fast, and so catching this Lina without a blink on the Beastmaster is not gonna be super easy. Since she has the BKB, you should be able to always use the BKB before you get hit by Inkswell or pulled by Storm. It's
also like the way that each draft functions. You kind of have that Mr. President moment for Tempo, where the moment you jump on the Lina, everyone's going to crowd on top of her to protect her. When you talk about that type of strategy, what's the solution that MOTACI has? If anything, you want to play on top of each other, because the Spectre, then you don't get the Desolate. They don't have many AoE control on the side of MOTACI either. So it's not really punished for you to cluster.
So what they have is, I mean, soon they're gonna have this Radiance on Spectre, and this is, you know, it's such an iconic thing for Dota, right? Spectre behind, very far behind, gets Radiance, and things start rolling. If the Spectre manages to get Radiance, potentially saves up a buyback, they take some sort of fight where the Spectre maybe dies, deals a lot of damage with Dispersion, and buys back. Storm potentially also buy back. They have some chances of winning fights, I think.
LeBron, they're going to start fight here on top of him with the Primal Roar. He's too tanky though, they can't get rid of him quick enough right now, and he could just throw out the split, and he will. The jumping comes out from Slardar, Stun control is good, Mump is already gone Undying, just trying to escape but cannot. They do get the bigger higher value target out as Beastmaster and Storm Spirit make their escape though. And you can at least say it was space for Curry, but he still hasn't got that Radiance complete, and they're coming for your high ground.
Yeah, at this point it seems it just might be too little too late. You'd want the Spectre to have, you know, 2-3 more items right now to feel comfortable.
Whoa, calm down, Soldier. You're asking a lot here, okay? He can't even afford a TP right now, all the Radiance recipe, and you want him to have 3 more items.
I said 2 or 3.
Oh, 2 or 3. All right, sorry, 2 or 3. All right, I tell you what, he can get 2 more items. He just needs to buy 2 Iron Branches, okay?
Yeah, that might work. That might do the trick.
That might work. I mean,
he's got the 1.
That is true.
One.
He needs to upgrade that. Get a little bit more stats. And he's about to have the Radiance, so, you know, there's at least one more fight in them, right? That much is clear. But it is one hell of an uphill battle at this stage in the game. 18,000 net worth lead, and just the way that Tempo's heroes scale at this point in the game is frightening.
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be one more fight. Whether or not they're able to win that fight or do anything with it remains to be seen.
Oh. There's at least one more fight, and here it comes on a Mitch. They even use the Horn to get on top. Estus Ring keeps him pretty tanky, but he knows he's eventually gonna die. You need to find more, though. And they will.
You definitely need to find more.
Strand to LeBron. It's not the most ideal target, and instead they actually have to walk away. They don't want to dive for the support. Instead, they move on to Lina. Just got the BKB to work with, though, so they need to be careful about this. Should just Shadowblade walk away. And actually, Mambos now needs to be careful. He's out of mana already. They might try and reinitiate if you get split at all.
Yeah, I don't think you want to keep committing like this. I feel like you just take your kill on Slaughter and you're happy with it, and you go back to just
like
farming
maybe
in safe places.
Well, maybe you could do that, and then like you could converge possibly for a Roche. It's a bit risky, but maybe that's your play. Now you don't even have that option because Slardar's respawning already.
Yeah, I feel like the thing I didn't like the Spectre committing the Haunt so early. I feel like you want to commit that when you know a teamfight is about to break out, not just for the kill on Slardar.
Yeah, because I think they had a little bit of vision on Brewmaster, but that was it. Like, he was under a ward, but he was still pretty far away. It wasn't like you were going to kill that and then immediately converge into the secondary.
Yeah, no. I feel like you want the enemy to kind of be running at you first before you commit to that Haunt. But they didn't lose that much. They are going to lose the Ghost though, so...
So it can get a bit painful. Immediate smoke as they move out the pit. Aegis now in the hands of Lina. And Troll, you know what? He isn't lactose intolerant this game. He's got his cheese. He's pretty tanky already at 2.4k HP. And it's not like you've got incredible burst right now on the side of MOTACI. Mitch, once again, just testing those buttons work. He says they do, guys. I'm ready. Let's get the waves pushed in. Let's not talk about it. Let's hit buildings instead.
Yep, that's a slithering crush. Yes, it works.
The worst part is when you get those games where you do it once and they just keep pinging you. They never stop.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you win some, you lose some. You know, he hits that one blind, then all of a sudden, you know, what a guy. So.
Oh, so you go for the turnaround. I know why you go for the turnaround, though. It's because you can no longer level stats instead, right?
Mm-hmm.
That used to be the perfect way to not fail, is you just level stats every time.
You miss 100% of opportunities you don't take, right?
But the real challenge is whether your hit-miss chance begins at 100% or 0%. It begins at 100%, which is why some people would argue, don't even bother. You've already got the best stat you can get.
Yeah, the stats, man.
Dude, I mean, that's what you know how people get in the pub games, right? Like, oh man, I just a little bit GPM higher.
Yep. Gotta get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
We've all been there. I bet you've had the ones where you queue in, you realize you're past 5, you get halfway through the game, you're like on a 10 kill streak. You can save your core, but you're like, I'm not doing that.
During my glory days back in TI1, I was the highest GPM and XPM player.
You know what you do with that? On your CV, you just write in like size 2 font back at TI1.
Yeah. I was good at Dota once upon a time. That's
don't sell yourself short here, all right? You still, I mean, you beat my ass at chess. Maybe you move across to that next, okay?
Yeah, that's the next one.
Oof. Imagine doing them at the same time. I mean, that's your real challenge.
Chess and Dota at the same time.
Yeah, dude. You just keep pausing.
I mean, I feel like they're not too far from one another.
They're both very strategic games. Like, obviously, like people are like, no, chess is strategic, but out of all the MOBAs, I've always felt like Dota is especially the most, in my eyes, like strategic one.
Yeah, I think the profit might be going down here.
This was strategic too. Because you see, it's an investment of resources while his team gets resources. No, it's a good kill. Because I think they should be able to get the tier 1 tower out of this with the Beast. Yeah, there you go. But instantly the buyback, okay.
Yeah, and I really like this. They just use the roar, and the storm he has to run to base. They're gonna lose this tower. Okay, there's a glyph, but they're gonna lose a lot of HP probably on this before MOTACI are ready to fight.
And the pressure's now on to find a really good horn because your Spectre is not back yet. He doesn't have TP for 30 seconds, so the only way he's getting back in this base is with his ultimate. Coming in, controlling Mitch. Hold comes down to 2 in the meantime. Mitch separated from his team as well. He'll buy a little bit of time with the crush. And Noob just trying to hit into the buildings with the BKB able to do so. The Abyss will jump in. They turn around the Spectre. They've already brought down Grimstroke, and then it looks like they'll bring down the Spec as well. He will go for the buyback straight away, but no way quickly back in the fight as he already used that horn. Tipek being chased down in the meantime. It will be deterred by the pause. DNC works together with his team to get rid of the tombstone, but gives his life in return as Mambos jumps back in. And this is the risk of playing around too long in the base against the Storm Spirit. Nice stun on the 2 though. Noob, it's looking beautiful. The stun follow-up's good enough. They're going to bring down the Storm. He's dead. And now they can chase forward into Curry. If they get this die back, they can end the game right here. They'll get rid of Tipek first. They'll turn around the Spectre. They'll drop him as well. The entirety of the side of MOTACI are down. And it looks like their base might not be long for this world either.
Yeah, just a very... I mean, it starts with this kill on top onto the Prophet, and he just realizes that they just use Roar, they don't have many resources, and he just buybacks and TP's bottom, and it's just too hard for MOTACI to fight at this point. When they're this far behind.
Definitely.
Also
quite
missing
methodical, right? Like, it feels like any resource at this point in the game MOTACI commits